What's up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes always deliver the big names. We got a Hall of Famer, a former champion, Jens Pulver. Little Evil joins us here. What's going on, Jens? How are you?
Oh, no, I'm good. How you doing?
Doing great, man. And that feels good, right? Now that you were always the world champion. You've been out 20 years now, and now you can add that Hall of Fame. That they gave you. Man.
Oh, I love that. What's even better is evidently I'm God mode in the video game. I got put in the UFC 5, and my stats are through the roof. They remember young Jens who was out there beating all the being the world champion and stuff like that when I pound for pound,
I was about to use that term, pound for pound.
Yeah, one point there in the beginning, there was a mention.
He finished at 35, but yet he held the 55-pound belt.
Yeah, I had to create. So you were better than fighting at 170.
You're like Frankie Edgar. Like, you guys were smaller size, but you maximized the opportunity that you had at the time.
Yeah, and that was the only weight class we had. And like I said, it was a lot better than fighting 170 or no weight class, which was even, I was, as fun as that was, it was, have my own weight class, all right.
Are you recognized by some of the younger fans? Are they?
Yeah.
Do they do their due diligence and look up Fight Pass and stuff like that, or do you find like sometimes people just move out of the way, or wish I had to keep them home?
No, sometimes I think it's really cool to still be kind of relevant. People kind of remember the name. Yeah. They'll see something like, wait, why does he look familiar? Wait, who is that? And stuff like that. What I really love is people like, hey, I watch you on the stream because I'm always doing the Tweet TV UFC, and
right.
I do UFC Fight Pass, and they're like, man, I remember. Okay, I got you from the stream. I was on the stream. I'm like, all right, I love hearing that. So it is cool, man. I think again, kind of getting that resurgence with the name, was really cool.
Yeah, because it was very gladiatorial what you did. We just saw Don Fry earlier as well. We were talking about 1996, 1997. This guy fought 10 times in 1 year.
Yeah.
So he took down one of those one-night tournaments. Then later in the year, he did another tournament and lost to Coleman in the finals. Then he did the Ultimate later that year and won that. So it was like 9-1 UFC run was all in one year.
That's insanity. Right? And that's it. I think that's one thing people didn't. People always ask about, like, what was the difference between now and then? I'm like, the ability to fight every weekend. Holy cow, that's what I love, is the fact that you can fight every weekend down there now, which would be amazing. Imagine a guy like Jeremy Horn, who had 200 some odd fights, and he was literally traveling to show to show to show to show and fighting in all these little shows. If you could put him in the UFC, he'd be like a Hamzat. I'm gonna fight every weekend. I'll be right here. I'm just gonna stay right here, and I'll fight next weekend too. Let's go. I think that's the one thing. But for Don to be able to do that and fight in tournaments, and to be able to be healthy enough to make it through each tournament and then still fight the next tournament, that's pretty impressive.
Jens, for a long time on our show, and I don't want to say we were making a case for Jens Pulver, because the case was there. We wanted to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Once that happened, we felt a little empty. We don't have another project, right? Is there anybody you feel like deserves to be in the Hall of Fame that isn't?
I don't. I love the selections that they're making, and I don't know. You try to think about on the Pioneer side and stuff like that. I feel like if I say one name, I'm going to leave out a different name and stuff like that. I think, like I said, I always had this one piece, and I kept this with me for a long time. When they talk about the sport, do they need to mention your name? And to me, that was, there's no way you couldn't. You started a weight class, So this pioneer aspect of it, and then winning that belt and stuff. There's no way you can tell the story without having it in there. And that's the thing is, when fans talk about the sport, who do they mention? Who do they talk about? And then you start going from there, and that's, stuff like that. Is that Hall of Fame worthy? Legendary status? For sure.
There are some fighters that when you look at their record, they have a couple fights, but a lot of their career has been done in the UFC. You have memories of being in Pride, WEC, and the UFC, and other organizations as well. What do you think, man? Like, what did Pride and WEC, how did that shape your career, and what are your fondest memories of those moments?
I'll never ever forget going over to Pride, because just the idea of you're fighting somewhere unfamiliar. The language is different. The time zone is different. It just the culture, everything about it. It felt like movie-esque. Like I'm in a movie. couldn't get nervous because I'm like, I'm in this foreign land going to fight this foreign fighter that he's got. These are his fans. You go to the show and they're actually cheering for you and they're giving you high fives. They're running up to meet you. It was the coolest thing in the world, especially as a couple of fights later, people would see you coming out of a bus, coming off a car, and they remember him like you to become international like that. It's just the wildest thing to be accepted. I loved it. I'll never forget the size of the show. I was at a New Year's Eve show, and it was quiet for 1 second. I think we were in the Tokyo Dome. 75,000, 80,000 people there live. I mean, the thing was massive, but you couldn't. It was quiet. You could hear a pin drop when they were fighting, but then all of a sudden, the fight. There was one of the fights about to finish, and boom! It just blew up. It's like, oh, there's that many people in there. But that was, it's just like I said, traveling around, fighting in different. I loved being able to do that, and it helped grow because I got to travel the world, so to speak. You know what I mean? A lot of people, you get to travel around the U.S., which is great. Maybe do an international fight, but that was for me. It was, I think, the right time. It's just a lot of fun to just be international.
I'm not going to let you off the hook. You couldn't come up with a name, but you get punched in the head for a living, so we're going to give you a pass. But now I'm going to bring up 3 names, and you tell me who deserves to go on first. See, one way or another, we're going to get an answer.
I don't feel like I deserve to tell anybody. I don't deserve to tell anybody.
Check it out. You ready?
Yeah.
Frank Shamrock. He won a title and defended it 4 times. Dan Henderson won a tournament, but then had tremendous success.
There's no way Dan Henderson could never be. There's no way you can't have. And this, I'm not against.
That's my favorite fighter. So I'm biased.
There's no way that Dan Henderson shouldn't be in a Hall of Fame of MMA. Or there's nothing like him. There's nothing like Dan Henderson. Nothing like what that man did. The size that he did it. I'll never forget. I think was it a rings tournament when he kept getting fouled and kicked and then he got like his 2 teeth. He got his teeth knocked out. Open weight, and he had that war with Gilbert Ivo was fouling him and stuff like that. And then he had to fight. I believe it was Nogueira, Babalu, the people that he had, and he won it. I couldn't believe there's nobody pound for pound.
Kings tournament.
There's nobody pound for pound tougher than Dan Henderson in MMA. Period. So I'm glad you said that name because that's exactly 1,000. There's nobody. There's nothing like him. And we're all tough. We've all done great things. There is nothing like Dan Hendo and what he did in his career for being a 205 pounder. Yeah. 195
185.
185.
He did 185.
I'm just saying, if he's sprucing up, at 205 at best. But I'll never forget that rings tournament. That was so old school. People need, if you ever find that, you need to look that up. I don't know, man.
I got a cool picture holding that trophy. He's got it upstairs in his gym. And I was like, bro, why aren't you flaunting this? This is historical.
Yeah.
And he just kind of had it upstairs.
Yeah, he just probably put it away.
Dusty,
He finally found a spot for it.
The last thing, by the way, Robbie Lawler. His fight's in, but he's not in. This guy was OG, then went out, had successes, but then still came back and won a title and defended it. And he was uber popular as well. I hate to pick on Donald Cerrone, but a lot of people feel like he's kind of like the lowest of the bar to get in, right? Which much respect to the Cowboy. He deserved to get in. But Robbie also owns a win over him. So, again, what do you think of that one? I mean, he was a homeboy of yours.
No, I love Robbie. He's my little brother. And again, another one, 100% should be in there. And it's not, again, you don't talk about this sport. If you talk about this sport of MMA, there's no way you won't talk about Robbie Lawler. Some of the greatest fights you ever witnessed, the titles that he had, the fights that he had, his career, how he started as a youngster, him and Nick in that first fight, him and Nick Diaz, and just how long he's been in this sport. So, again, there's no way you can talk about UFC and MMA and fighting without talking about Robbie Lawler.
So when we tweet it, you'll be retweeting it for those 3 brothers.
Well, that's a mandatory. That's, of course. Dan Hendo and Robbie Lawler, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Those are...
Frank Shamrock, in or out?
Oh, no. Well, same thing with Frank. Again, I think I look at it like this. One of the things is I don't necessarily know if winning a belt... Does winning a belt... Okay, here's a question I'll ask you.
We won it and defended it 4 times.
I know. No, that is impressive. And then, but again, on the pioneering side, and especially as long as you have that pioneer. Yeah. See, did I deserve it maybe in my career? No. just winning the title is not enough to me. And defending it twice, losing it on a contract. I never got beat. Nobody beat me for it. But being the champ, that doesn't. I don't know if that does it always. But as long as you have that pioneer wing, you cannot not have Frank Shamrock. That's another one. Same thing and that's kind of what was with me, and I think with everybody getting behind me on it all. There's no way, if you have this pioneer wing especially, there's no way you can't have the guy who created the 155-pound division. I won the belt and defended it 2 times, never lost it, you know what I mean? And then carried on and pioneered for all the little guys, stuff like that. That's, you know what I mean? So that's where I would say yes with Frank, 100%.
All right, last thing here. Shara Magomedov. You guys, I think, share the same eye condition. I'm not an expert.
No.
I
think because his eye doesn't. Yeah, no, mine is. So mine is now. I watched this picture the other day. Do I really look like that? He's got the full, solid blue eye and the brown. And
he was here signing autographs, but he had his glasses on. No, he just fought. I don't know if he's trying to.
But he has. Right? I don't know if he has.
I think you should embrace it, man.
I don't know. I think he had. There's something. I don't know if I don't know about his eye. How it. But mine is just different in the fact that heterochrome. See, that's what they try to say, but it's So it's I absorbed my twin in the womb, if that makes sense.
That's a real thing?
That's a real thing.
People just say
no, they told me this, and this is wild. So again, the difference, like some people have little pigment changes and stuff like that in their eyes, and there's different, but my pupils are different sizes. Optic nerves go like this. You have your ear and they go across the eyes. Mine are straight ahead. So basically, the twin took my eye, or I took their eye, or whatever. The twin took my eye, and I have their eye and their optic nerve. So you're looking at 2 people. Chimerism is what they talk about. I don't know if I have the 2 DNA like that. So I don't know I thought his was his an eye injury, or what is it with?
I don't know. I just thought it might be the same thing you had.
No, I have two optic nerves from one from each twin. Which is wild. Oh, it gets deep.
But he should embrace it, right? It's his look.
No, it's his look, 100%. Yeah. My eyes work, but the pupils are different sizes and the colors change. That's why one eyelid drops lower than the other, so they can take in the same amount of light. It's wild. All right. It'll be a long story.
Has that ever gotten you a movie role or anything?
No, but I can play them. They always have 2 different colored eyes as villain, so I should be like.
You should be like in the last season of Yellowstone or something.
Yes.
You're from Idaho. That's Montana.
Yeah.
But you got the look to it all.
I can ride horses too. I'm pretty sick.
Can you really?
Oh, I'm getting down.
And I could just see you.
I was born on the racetrack.
I could just see you talking your way. You're a bad guy, obviously. Right? You don't mind being a bad guy.
No, I would love to be a bad guy, to be honest.
And you can ride horses.
I can ride horses. Smack the cat of somebody. I'll be in there in a heartbeat. I just know nobody ever gives me any call about movies. I'll do it all day. I can have it.
You watch it?
I have watched it a couple times. I need to get into it more. I'll get into it more, but yeah, the problem is I don't really watch TV too much because I play video games. If I'm not streaming, I'm playing video games. But that stream is a lot.
Yeah. All right. Twitch is on Mondays, right?
Well, no, we changed it. So right now we're on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. We're on Twitch TV/UFC, and again, I'll be doing a watch along again tonight. UFC Fight Pass YouTube. So that's my new project. Is taking on UFC Fight Pass YouTube, and I'm trying to build their week I do the watch alongs.
I wish I wouldn't have asked you that because we were doing the watch along too. But who would want to listen to a Hall of Famer? I got to give him this prop.
They didn't invite me, but see, so I just have to do what I'm doing.
Great to see you. All right,
good to see you guys. I appreciate you.
Awesome.
My brothers.
Pulver, Hall of Famer, former champion, great commentator, breaks down fights. Awesome dude.